Here's the secret to viral marketing. The strange truth is this: desire is what makes people happy moving towards a goal they want to achieve. But the real thing that moves people is pain. And if you combine those two together, you unlock transformation. And Maslow's hierarchy shows us how. The problem is most people start at the top of the hierarchy instead of the bottom, moving up, where the secret lies. And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how you can unlock really highly effective paid marketing to convert as many potential leads that are your perfect avatar into your world so you can do more sales. Let's dive in and first of all go over what is Maslow's hierarchy. Maslow worked out there are certain human needs we all have, and they all start at mostly at the bottom. And then once we meet those, we go up those higher tiers. The very first one is just basic food, shelter, and all those things that we need just to survive. Once those are met, the next thing we go for is safety, right? And think of safety like money, income. Once we have that, we move towards love. And then here we have our higher purpose. The problem is most people, when they advertise in that hierarchy, and we're all the same psychologically speaking, right? If you think of it this way, have you ever considered dating, right, to kind of meet someone when you've got no money, you're still just kind of starting out and there's nothing going on? You're probably not really thinking about dating, you're just trying to make ends meet and really just trying to get to this first part here of having your basic needs, the very tribal survival needs taken care of. Once we have that and we've got obviously extra money, right, savings and so on, we feel a bit more comfortable. It's then we allow ourselves, once that's taken care of and there's no stress, we start to move towards more love, connection, other things. I'm not saying they don't live in these areas, but they're not as much of a priority. And then of course here we have our higher self, our higher purpose. And one really good way of thinking about this is this: when you think about viral marketing, think about the fact that you've got two people, Andrew Tate and Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins typically always, and I love the guy, he always goes towards higher purpose, transformation of life. He doesn't get the views or the viral marketing that someone like Andrew Tate did, who got billions of views because he really focused on the bottom part. Most men just trying to get going and all those sorts of things. The trick though is, we don't want to just advertise towards the transformation, but we do, and I'll explain how to do it, but we also want to take into account the bottom part where pain lives. Pain lives more at the bottom, right? And up here is more of the desire. And I said before earlier, if we use both, we really unlock the overall transformation. So how does it fit in for you when we talk about advertising? Well, if you're just talking about higher purpose or transformation all the time in terms of desire, where somebody wants to go, and you never include pain, then sure, it makes people happy and it's motivating and inspirational, but it doesn't move them along as much as pain does. And I hate to say this and even think of it for myself, but you know, we've got the carrot and the stick, right? The carrot, we want to move towards something, and the stick that kind of gets us there. It's kind of like, think about it this way. Imagine a child running out of a building towards the ice cream truck, desire, right? How fast would that kid run when it hears the bells ring for that ice cream truck? Now, in the same way of thinking, how fast would that kid run if it's running out of a burning building? Pain. Much faster, right? So we all kind of operate that way. Yes, we move towards desire, but when we're in pain, like running out of a burning building, we run really fast, right? So how do we use both when it comes to advertising? Well, you really want to get clear on your avatar. And these desire and pain transformations, they don't just exist from going from this part here all the way straight across. They actually exist in many stages. You could advertise at the pain point here and just help people get to this part, or help them get to this part. Or you could advertise to people that are here that are moving towards this part here. I'll give you an example by what I mean. In my business, being an agency that talks about marketing and so on, helping people with those transformations, I can talk to the avatar that's struggling with leads, they're referral based, they're in pain, up and down, uncertainty, and they really want to get to safety, consistent lead flow, consistent appointments, consistent sales equals money equals safety. Now, shelter, food, all that's taken care of, there's no more worry, and now they've moved up in a transformation. So I can use both the pain and also desire together. If I want a different avatar that's already doing really well, they're already in safety, they already got good income, it's a business, I might talk about systems, how to get them from good to great. So my advertising would be more towards this and probably towards the higher purpose, because people that in business are doing really well, it's not so much about the money anymore. Why? Because they already have this part. And if I just focus on this part down here with a potential client, that I want that different type of avatar, it's not going to land. And the reason is because I'm speaking towards something for them of the person I want to help, right? That someone's doing really good but wants to go to great, but it doesn't really move the needle for them because there's no pain. The pain is the higher purpose. It's the identity. Someone that's already doing really good, they've got food, they've got shelter, they're already saving money every month, the business is profitable. It might be more of an identity part that's tied to them of wanting to be this multi-seven-figure earner. And so now the pain is not achieving that, not realizing their potential. I can speak to that to move them up here. And so that's when you start to formulate ads. And so how can you really put those two things together? Very simple. I'll give you a simple framework. There are many, but the one I want to give you today in this video is just to start you out, that once you understand where your client is at, you can use a simple framework in your ads. What I'm writing out here is a simple sentence that you can use for advertising. And then what you do is play with it and expand it. But keep Maslow's hierarchy in the back of your mind. So we have here how to, right? And then we're going to talk about desire, right? And then we go in the same sentence, include the other really big important part, which is this: how to desire without pain, right? So a really nice and easy example is like a weight loss example. How to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks so you can where they want to go. Maybe it's health. Maybe the higher purpose is feeling and looking good. Maybe it's love, right? How to lose 10 pounds so you can go back into the dating world and feel good. You have to understand your avatar. I'm giving you broad strokes. Without pain, right? Without dieting. That could be a pain point for someone. If you look at all these things of food and all that part below, right? That is the part you want to take care of. So you've got to start thinking and just play around with a lot of variations. But in a simple framework of how to desire without pain is just a simple framework to get you going. There are many variations and much more complicated ones, but just to get you started, you can't go wrong with this simple framework. Hope you enjoyed this video, got some value out of it. And if you'd like to have a chat with us to see what this might look like and have a little bit of a marketing action plan, simply click the link below and you can book in for a chat with me or my team, and we'll just walk you through where your business is at, figure out your ideal client profile, what their pains are, where they are in the Maslow's hierarchy, how we can kind of shift and create something and walk away with value. Or if you want us to help you do that, we can do that as well. I'll see you inside the next video.